Good morning again. There's a very short letter in the New Testament that is little talked about. I can't remember a sermon being preached about this letter, but the fact that it's in the Bible proves its importance. Paul and the Apostle and Timothy wrote it while in prison. He was an old man by now, but still felt he needed to write. The person he was writing to was Philemon. Philemon was a fellow believer, a godly, respected man whose home was opened up to the church people to gather. He was a wealthy man with a wife and possibly a son called Archippus. Paul writes of how he respects Philemon as a fellow believer in the faith and longed to see him again. After all the praise Paul had put on Philemon, there was something he wanted him to do. Something that would possibly but be very hard to do. But he knew Philemon. Philemon had a servant called Onesimus. Onesimus was mentioned in Acts. In fact, his conversion is in Acts. But he had fled the house of Philemon and hurt his master very badly. He had stolen from him and deceived him. I'm sure Philemon must have felt very betrayed and sad. And now Paul was asking Philemon to take him back. In fact, Paul was sending him. Amazingly, by God's sovereign will and purpose, Onesimus had met Paul, had listened to his word, and he gets converted to Christianity. He becomes a Christian. Paul looks after him, teaches him, loves him, and then sends him back to Philemon. The letter explains this and says he now wants Philemon and the believers who gathered at Philemon's house to accept him, but now not as a servant, but as a fellow brother in the Lord. He now was in God's eyes an equal with the believers. What an ask. Paul was saying, take this dear brother back into the fold. He has changed. He is no longer the person he was, but he is no longer a servant either. But he's a brother, and a brother who means a lot to me. And I want you to respect him and love him too. What would Philemon do or say? Would he and the fellow believers reject him or welcome him as a believer in the Lord? And make a mere servant a son. Paul had faith in Philemon, you see, and he asked him to do what was required and welcome Onesimus as one of his own. Sometimes it's very hard to forgive people who we've trusted and helped when they turn against us or let us down. But the Lord says, I have forgiven you, so you must forgive others. No matter how badly they have treated you, God is the judge. He knows best. And good will come out of every bad situation when you know you are doing what God commands you to do. By the way, one more thing. According to church tradition, the first bishop of Ephesus in the turn of the first century was called Onesimus. God bless you.